All right, take two. My kid was screaming in my ears and I could not figure my thoughts out. So today, guys, welcome to Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler. Today I am reviewing the Defcon Kabuto. But before I start that, as you all know, I am doing a Proelia TX050 giveaway based on the sound of a knife and your guys' guess and the correct input in the comments below what you think that knife I'm flipping is. Somewhere in this video, I will start flipping a knife. I will tell you that I'm flipping the knife for the contest, and I will also tell you a hint to go along with the knife. But jumping right into it, this is Defcon Kabuto. I might have already given you some of the specs when I opened the box, but this is a pretty cool knife, and I want to give my thoughts after carrying it for a little while. So jumping right into this knife is an overall approximately 9 inches. That's including this glass breaker in the end, though. The blade length, as you can see here, is about 4 inches with a cutting length of about 3 3/4. The handle width is about 1.5. The blade width, sorry about that, is just over 1 1/4. Let's go into the blade stock thickness and all that happy stuff. So the blade stock is about 150 thousandths. See if I can get the thickness behind the edge. It's looking like 20 thousandths. Let me take it up here, see if that's, yeah. Thickness behind the edge is about 20 thousandths. Let's get you the weight on this guy. It's quite a large knife. It's very sleek in the profile. I probably should have waited for it to tell me hello. Yep. So this knife is coming in at, I don't know if you guys can see it with that lighting, but it's coming in at 4.47 ounces. Not terribly large, not terribly small. But, so that is the Defcon Kabuto overall specs. Let's see what you get in your box. You get a nice VV chamois, which should not be in that box. So you get this with its pretty little... Oh, sweet. I must have put that in there. You do get a chamois. So there's JK Jungle Knife in there. You get some aspirin for whenever you cut your finger, you need to dull the pain. You get some hardware that I'm not really sure what this hardware is for. It's like 3 blue pieces. I don't really know what that is, and I haven't really looked into it. And you get a tool, which I'm not going to try to get out. It looks like a pain in the ass to get out. It looks like a T6 and a T8 Torx, which should tell you what these already are. Here's the T8. What? Am I wrong? What? Oh no. We're learning something together, guys. T6. Alright, what is this? Is this T8? This is a T. Is that a T7? Oh, I was just being dumb. So that's a T8 for the pivot. And the other screws are T6s. Yep. So the T8 for the pivot, the other screws are T6s. Sorry, had a dumb moment there. The box is pretty sweet. It's got this nice little stiff foam that goes in to protect it as it's going. You don't get a little carrying case like you do with Civivis, but that is what it is. So my initial thoughts on this knife. First of all, this blade is awesome. It's an awesome blade. As you can hear my kid growling in the background, it's that awesome. And I didn't clean it off. You can see those smudges. I don't know if you could see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Those lines. See those lines going down? You can tell this was like a massively produced knife. Like you can see those lines throughout the knife in some areas where you can tell that's the grind, and that's okay. You know, it doesn't bother me really, but you know, if I was spending what I would think this knife was worth versus what I actually paid for it, I would be a little frustrated. I only paid I think it's like $110 on Massdrop for this knife. I don't know if it's on there anymore. I'm pretty sure you can still get this knife elsewhere, but to buy this knife outright, I looked it up. This knife in itself, I want to say, is approaching the $200 mark. If you don't get it from Massdrop, it might be a little bit less than that. Downside to Mass Drop, you have to wait for your knife because they're taking pre-orders so that they can know how much to make, so that they can just make them, and that saves them some money in the face of it, but it also takes you sometimes 2 months to get your knife. Well worth the 110 or 120 that I spent on it. The action on this thing is fantastic, as it makes me look stupid. Excuse me. I know it doesn't look like it. I must have gotten it dirty. But I swear to God, this thing was drop shutty. Sorry. There's something in the bearings. I can feel it catching up on something. But the action is very good. The flipper tab is knocked down so perfectly that if you guys have ever experienced a flipper tab that kind of wears on your hand, this is not one of those flipper tabs. Jesus. You can really flip this thing for hours, and it feels great. So another thing about this knife that I absolutely love, and I'm going to call it chamfering, but I don't really know. It's the way they knock down the backside of this to where there is no sharp edges on the backside of this knife. You know, the difference between that and, let's just pull out the PM2 real quick. Where the PM2, you know, takes, I don't know if you guys can see the gunk that's on top, but it takes some of your nail off with just how sharp it can be. Now that's not an issue. It's not going to necessarily cut you, but it's uncomfortable at times. That knockdown back area of the blade makes it feel so much higher quality. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but it feels friggin' awesome. This is a flat ground blade, but it's almost fully flat ground from top to bottom, and it's a pretty wide profile on it. So you're getting, like I said, the 20 thousandths behind the edge. That's pretty small. I mean, that's a pretty, you don't, you get better than that, but not much. I mean, this thing's slicey as all heck. So the looks, I got the upgraded model, which was like 10 bucks more. It has this marbled carbon fiber with the titanium. It's got a frame lock with just all titanium on the background and a titanium milled pocket clip. It's got an adjustable ball detent, which I don't really know how to use yet. A lanyard hole that protrudes out a little bit, but I mean, they didn't have to make it come out, but I think because of the way they wanted to insert the lanyard hole with a glass breaker, that's how they made it work. I'm not mad about this though, and here's why. You grab this thing in your hands, you don't feel that at all. You can grab it. One thing I do, you know, appreciate and don't appreciate at the same time is you can grab it like this and pull down, but if you slip, you're going to cut yourself. That forward finger choil, I'm starting to get to the point where I really, really love that forward finger choil style. But it doesn't make me like this knife any less. It's got these cool little grooves coming down. Come on, camera. So this titanium is milled. There you go. Titanium's milled right there, so that you can see all that with the marbled carbon fiber. And the same thing on the backside. And that glass breaker, it's pointy, but it's not where you're going to hurt yourself with it. It's kind of cool that a knife like this has a glass breaker on there, I guess. I mean, everybody's trying to find all those tools in one. I could take it or leave it. It doesn't make or break it for me. But I can tell you that, you know, it makes it nice. It's just a nice little addition. So right now we're going to stop. I'm going to grab the knife that I am going to be flipping, and you guys are going to guess what it is and put it in the comments below, following the format on my contest video that I put out 2 videos before this. Are we ready? Quiet. A moment of silence and the kid came in quiet. What is wrong with these 15-month-old kids these days? So that was the knife. I'll do it one more time for you. I'm trying to flick it hard so you guys can hear it. All right, so your hint as to what this knife is, I have reviewed it already. It is in my arsenal, and it is larger than a 3.5-inch blade. That is your hint. Go through my videos if you want to get a better guess on it, because I know guessing by sound alone, there's only a few knives that I can really tell the sound. I mean, I can tell that sound all day with the ProTech Newport, right? the Rat Model 2. I mean, I could almost tell that sound all day. But then there's other knives that are going to be more difficult. So that's just a heads up. That knife is going to be above 3.5 inches. So anywhere in between 3.5 and 4 inch mark for the blade length. All right, going back into the review of this Defcon Kabuto. Overall thoughts, well, let's go into anything bad, okay? Is there anything bad about this knife? No, I don't know of anything bad. This right here, the frame lock, feels kind of weak to the point where I mentioned this in my if I could have one knife forever type of video. This frame lock does feel weak. Now, what does that mean to me? Nothing yet. But if this was my only knife and I was carrying it every day, I would feel that eventually I would weaken it some more. Now, I know titanium has a stiffer memory, if I'm not mistaken, so it's going to retain that for quite some time, and maybe it's just my mind. That's not a bad thing. It makes it even more fun to fidget with, right? But if I had to pick one bad thing about the knife, that might be it. You know, the overall size, it's not a bad thing either. I love the overall size. It's almost a 4-inch blade. You know, but it's not going to be for some people. So if I had to try and be objectively looking at it, it might not be a knife that some people truly want because it's that large. Myself, I love it. If I wasn't having my love affair with the Manix 2, then it's very possible that this would be my everyday carry for the above or at 3.5 inch mark. As I told before, I have knives that are 3 inches and below and knives that are 3.5 inches and above, a couple in the middle. But I typically carry one of each just because it gives me an excuse to get some more reviews out the door as I'm carrying them, and it also gives me an excuse to carry 2 knives because we love knives. So, before I go into absolute final conclusions, I'm going to show you the Bull Mastiff up against it so you can see the true size of this knife. I've touted how obnoxiously large the Bull Mastiff is, and this knife rivals that in length. It rivals that in length. So, that's just a reference. But now, if you were to do something like this and stack the two, obviously, you know, there's massive difference. Into our normal size comparisons, we got the PM2 and the Tenacious right here. So you can kind of see this knife is much longer than both of those. I think the PM2 is coming in like 8 1/4 or 8 1/2. Tenacious is coming in around 8. Just guessing by looking at it. I don't remember these specs like some of these guys. The Rat Model 1 and the ProTech Newport. 2 knives that people are fairly familiar with the size, especially the Rat Model 1. As you can see, the Rat Model 1, let's see if I can get this closer to get you a better angle on it. What the hell? Too close. Yeah, it's not funny. Kids laughing at me even. So as you can see, the Rat Model 1 looks bigger, but that's the frickin' angle. If I were to do this, I'm failing today. If I were to do that, you guys can truly see the actual size. You see how the camera works, Jax, with your frickin' sight? Once again, I apologize for having him screaming in the background. I don't apologize for him, but I apologize for him not being quiet while we're trying to do videos. Here's the Civivi Praxis. Here is the Civivi McKenna. 2 opposite ends of the spectrum to give you a size reference. The Praxis is a really good one to compare it to because the Praxis is a knife that most people know and love, and it is virtually the same size. Actually, kind of looks a little bit longer than the Praxis. Let's see if I can really do this here. So if you're matching up the pivots, you can see that beats that. If you're matching up the blades, it beats it by another 1/8 or 1/4. My overall opinions on this knife, if you're picking this up from Mass Drop for 110 to 120, it's a steal. This knife is awesome, and you will not be disappointed with it. The Defcon Kabuto is a fantastic knife, looks fantastic, it looks classy, it has all the looks to it that, you know, knife guys like, I think. And it has that titanium feel, so you get that higher quality feel. When you're looking at this, all the edges are knocked down, the back of the blade's knocked down. The ergos are fantastic in it, it feels great. I haven't noticed anything with this knife that has upset me more so than a little bit of gunk getting in the bearings, which is my own fault and nobody else's. So apparently I didn't clean it out so that you guys can really see. the true prowess of this. You're gonna scare away all the viewers, dude. Cut it out. Zip it. Hey. Zip it. He doesn't listen, so this is just kind of me wasting my time. All right, guys. That has been the Defcon Kabuto. Like I said, overall views, it's a fantastic knife. It is large, so if you don't want a above 3.5 inch knife, or if you don't want a knife that's above 3 inches, this won't work for you. But for all the other ones, the flipper tab's knocked down, it feels great. This is knocked down, feels great. There's no sharp points on this. The only sharp point is this, was I doing that all off video? This has all been knocked down, this has been knocked down. Flipper tab is great. This is the only sharp point on there. And honestly, like, I know we hate glass breakers in like the enthusiast community, but it's so subtle that you really don't notice it, guys. Even this, I know we don't really like lanyard holes for the most part. Some of us do, some of us don't, but we don't like it being a design that models the whole design throughout. Even though that this pops out a little bit, you don't notice it that much. It's a pretty great knife. Does not disappear in your pocket. Fairly large, like I said, 4.4 ounces. But that's my recap, and I'm kind of redundant at this point. Take your own views on it, but that's the way I see it. I am going to keep on to this knife. I don't think I'm going to get rid of this anytime soon. Maybe I will do what I'm doing with the proelia TX050 in the future, but I don't see that happening in the near future. This is going to stay in my collection for a while. So, the Defcon Kabuto. Love it. Great knife. Very quality feel. I have been Tyler with Everyday EDC. My son has been RJ over here. Sideline and armchair quarterbacking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay sharp, stay out of the riot, stay corona free, wear your mask, be respectful to everybody, and most of all, don't cut yourselves. Have a great day, guys.